Ben is a senior here at USU, majoring in music and American Sign Language interpreting. He was born in Logan in 1992 to Michael and Lori Ballam, who are actually joining us here this evening. He is the youngest of 6 children. Ben loves music and people, and he is happiest when he can make new friends and hang out with old ones. He's done a lot of traveling with his family to over 30 countries around the world, and a fun fact is he's actually lived in Italy and Israel, which I think is pretty cool. Ben is also a huge Harry Potter fan and will challenge anyone to a Harry Potter trivia contest. Do we have any takers? Some of Ben's favorite things are playing wheelchair basketball, reading, singing, and going to the theater. One of Ben's goals is to give back to all the amazing people that have helped him throughout his life. Let's welcome Ben Ballam to the stage.
Hi, everybody. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to come and to share a little bit of my story with you today. When I was born, the doctor told my parents that I most likely wouldn't be able to read or sit up at all. But my parents and the rest of my family, being the wonderful people they are, didn't accept that. They did everything they could to make sure that I was able to do those things. By the time I turned 4, I was able to read, thanks to my sisters who helped me. Since nobody really ever told me I couldn't do anything, I just decided, I'll do it anyway. When I was in elementary school, my brothers, mostly my brother Nick, took me to the playground at my elementary school, and he challenged me to get out of my wheelchair and to crawl up the stairs on the playground and scoot over to the slide and then go down and then start the whole process all over again, go back up the stairs and do it all over again, over and over and over until I was able to do it all by myself. And I love sports. My favorite sport is basketball. But growing up, I never really was able to, I didn't feel like I was able to do it with my friends very much because, there weren't very many opportunities for a person in a wheelchair to do wheelchair basketball. I tried doing the junior jazz team here, but I wasn't really able to do it the same as the other boys on the team. And so my mom and I decided to start our own version of junior jazz called Junior Wheelchair Jazz. And it also involved other boys and girls that had other different types of disabilities as well. When I was about 6 years old, my dad started a program called Opera for Children, and it's where children throughout the state and also throughout the rest of the country get to write, direct, and perform in their own original opera. And I remember getting the opportunity to do that, and I went home after we found out that our class could do it, and I said, "Dad, do you think that a boy in a wheelchair could do something like this?" And he said, "Ben, a person in a wheelchair can do anything they want, including becoming president of the United States." And then he told me the story about Franklin D. Roosevelt, who, despite all of his challenges and also being in a wheelchair, was able to become the president of this country. I had a surgery in 2006 that changed my life. It was a spinal surgery that I had to have done because of scoliosis that I was born with, and it was a very difficult time for me, emotionally, physically, and I became very angry at that time and bitter because everyone kept telling me everything was going to be okay, and I didn't believe them because everything that could have gone wrong while I was in the hospital went wrong during that time. I got sick several times, and it's a long story, but everything just seemed not to be going the way I wanted it. But I met 3 years later. I had a final surgery to correct the first one, and I met a music therapist who she really changed my life. I told her about my experiences with my first surgery and all the anger and frustration that I felt from that, and she helped me write a song about my surgery, about that first one. I've had a lot of people who have shown simple acts of kindness towards me in my life. One time during my first surgery, my dad asked me, "What can I do to make you happy again?" Because I was really struggling. And as was stated in my bio earlier, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. And I said, "I'd like to meet Harry Potter." And my dad reminded me, "You know, you live in Utah and he lives in England. That's probably not going to happen, you know, and that would be very difficult to make that happen." But 3 years later, I went to New York to consult with a doctor about the final surgery I had to have. And little did I know that my dad had secretly set up an appointment for me while I was in New York to meet Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe. And so we were supposed to go to a show that night, but while we were waiting for the show to start, my dad took me to this other theater that I later found out Daniel Radcliffe was performing in. And long story short, he talked to me for his entire break in between shows. And then as I was leaving, he said, "I want you to know that I believe in you and that I know that this is going to be hard, but I know that you can do this surgery. And I will be thinking about you and praying for you the day that you have it." And so I left meeting with him and then going to the show that we were supposed to go to that night. And I said, "Mom and Dad, I can do it again. I'll do it." And they said, "Why?" And I said, "You just made it possible for me to meet my hero. And if he believes in me, then I've got no excuse." So I did the surgery again, and another person who was really influential in my life was one of my middle school teachers, Mr. Passy. He involved me in this really cool river rafting trip that my class did on the Snake River, and they figured out a way that I could be involved in that as well. I guess in closing, I just want to say I've had a lot of people help me throughout my life, throughout the good times and the hard times, and I hope to be able to do the same for other people through my future profession. And I want to close by telling you all that no matter what life throws at you, you can do it if you just set your mind to it. Whatever it is, whatever whatever you want to accomplish, even if people are telling you that it's impossible, you can do it if you just set your mind to it. As my favorite wise wizard once said, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Thank you.